He's the friendly neighborhood hero we all know, but across the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man has taken on countless identities, powers, and stories. From Peter Parker to Gwen Stacy, from the spectacular to the strange, this video covers every version of Spider-Man that's ever swung across the multiverse. Get ready to enter the web like never before. The story of Spider-X. On a prehistoric Earth, the T-Rex Tyrannosaurman and his lackeys pursued the weakling Pteranodontor Tarker. Just as Tyrannosaurman bit Tarker, both were hit by a meteorite containing alien spiders. When they awoke, the two found that they switched bodies, which now also were clad in colorful costumes. Tyrannosaurman once more attacked Tarker for the theft of his body, but Tarker fought off Tyrannosaurman and his lackeys with his new spider powers. Now powerful and confident, Tarker swung away, but the tree branch broke and he fell down, crushing both Tyrannosaurman and two innocent Dinostanders. Horrified by the result of his recklessness, the amazing Spider-Rex learned the power of responsibility. The story of Spider-Man from Earth 94. In this reality, Ben Reilly didn't die at the hands of the Green Goblin, and kept being Spider-Man as Peter Parker lost his powers and moved to Oregon with Mary Jane Watson. From then on, Ben lived a charmed life. The story of Spider-Man from New Lunar York. In a reality where humanity colonized the moon, Peter Parker lived in New Lunar York, who was bitten by a radioactive spider, and became Spider-Man. And later, a photographer for the Daily Bugle. The story of MC2 Spider-Man. Peter Parker's life unfolded much like his Earth 616 counterpart until the Clone Saga, when Mary Jane prematurely gave birth to their daughter, May. From that moment on, Peter began to consider giving up his role as Spider-Man in order to better protect his family. 2 years later, during a decisive battle with the Green Goblin, Norman Osborn was killed and Peter lost his left leg. Although he received a prosthetic and still retains much of his powers, the injury prevented him from continuing his life as Spider-Man. The story of Spider-Man from Earth 4400. Spider-Man, along with all the other heroes, was killed by King Hyperion in order to complete his mission of taking over Earth. The story of Spider-Man from Dormammuverse. Spider-Man worked alongside Daredevil to scour the city night and day for the arrival of Doctor Strange of the Prime Marvel Universe. After discovering them, Doctor Strange sent in reinforcements to help take them down. The story of the Divergent Zombie Spider-Man. Spider-Man was one of the many superheroes who have been infected with a zombie plague. He was seen attacking the Silver Surfer along with several other zombies. The story of Peter Parker, computer game designer. Peter Parker never got bitten by a radioactive spider, thus never became Spider-Man and instead became a computer game designer. The story of the assassin Spider-Man. Spider-Man and Wolverine went on a Black Ops mission because of a woman named Charlemagne, but when a conflict broke out between the two, Spider-Man inadvertently ended up killing her and she died in Wolverine's arms. The two eventually reconciled, but rather than opting to travel back to the United States, he decided to stay abroad and Wolverine offered him a job in the hopes of letting him redeem himself. The two went to the Ural Mountains to retrieve a woman named Alex, but are intercepted by a weather-controlling mutant and the Crimson Dynamo. While Wolverine subdued the mutant, Spider-Man punched Dynamo's jaw with enough force to snap his neck and kill him. After saving Alex, Spider-Man would decide to stay with Wolverine and train in order to hone his skills, crafting himself a new suit and weapons in the process. The story of Pestilence. Spider-Man was transformed into the Horseman of Pestilence by Apocalypse, physically fusing him to a horse-like creature. Parker, along with Apocalypse and the other Horsemen, was briefly transported to Earth 616 and combated the Avengers due to Kang's damage to the timestream. The story of Spider-Man from Earth 11126. After Ms. Marvel begged Volstagg for help, Volstagg joined Hawkeye, Spider-Man, Wolverine, Iron Fist, and Thor in defeating the Serpent, but Thor was killed. The story of Spider-Man from Life Story. This version of Spider-Man follows Peter Parker's life from his teenage origins to his heroic end. After gaining his powers and learning responsibility through Uncle Ben's death, Peter builds a career as both a hero and a scientist, collaborating with Reed Richards and Otto Octavius. He marries Gwen Stacy before losing her, later marrying Mary Jane and having twins, though their relationship fractures after the trauma of the symbiote. Years of struggles with villains, betrayal, and personal loss lead Peter into an identity crisis, an affair, and the shocking revelation that he may be a clone, though this is ultimately proven false. He steps away from the spotlight, but tragedy and the Superhuman Registration Act pull him back into conflict, putting him against Tony Stark's forces. By 2019, Peter is one of the last surviving heroes, leading a resistance against Doctor Doom. In a final mission aboard a space station, he faces Kraven and a possessed Miles Morales, ultimately sacrificing himself to activate the Doomsday Pulse and free the world from Doom's control. His last thoughts before dying are of Mary Jane, bringing his journey full circle. The story of Spider-Man from Advanced Idea Manhattan. Spider-Man was among the many superheroes whom AIM outfitted with brainwashing devices. As Spider Mechanic, he became an enforcer of AIM's rule in Advanced Idea Manhattan. The story of Comrade Spider-Man. Pyotr Parkerov led a secret double as a photographer working under Georgie and a costumed hero, Comrade Arachnid, who was suspected by some of being capitalist despite struggling to uphold the ideals of the proletariat. The story of Spider-Man, leader of the Mini-Ultimates. Spider-Man led a team of young heroes called the Mini-Ultimates. This reality manifested in a daydream by the Bobby Drake of Earth 1610. The story of President Spider-Man. A suited Spider-Man at a podium was observed by Karn through the web of life and destiny. The story of the Spider-Man who never became crime fighter. After gaining fame from a wrestling match, Spider-Man sought publicity by stopping a burglar and quickly entered the world of show business. He appeared on television, signed movie deals, and even revealed his identity to his aunt and uncle, which created tension within his family. Choosing fame over responsibility, he became a celebrity and used his influence to manipulate situations, including intimidating J. Jonah Jameson when his secret identity was exposed. Expanding his reach, Spider-Man positioned himself as a promoter and agent for superhero teams like the Fantastic Four, the Avengers, the X-Men, and even Daredevil, although his marketing-driven changes angered some of them. The story of Timeslip Spider-Man. World on which Spider-Man's equipment included a grappling hook instead of web shooters and had a different costume. Spider-Man later seen in the crowd of Spider Army to defeat Inheritors on Earth 001. The story of Spider-Man adopted by Jameson. The story presents an alternate take on Spider-Man, after the Chameleon's failed attempt to steal a Mars-bound rocket causes the deaths of John Jameson and May Parker. J. Jonah Jameson adopts Peter Parker, blames Spider-Man for the tragedy, and funds creations like the Spider Slayers and Scorpion for revenge. Peter, working as assistant editor of Jameson's new paper, exposes Spider-Man in a positive light but clashes with Jameson's vendetta, leading Flash Thompson to become the Scorpion. After revealing his identity to Jameson and surviving an ambush by villains thanks to Jameson's intervention, Peter publicly embraces being Spider-Man and fights crime alongside his adoptive father.